Hello, everybody. Welcome to How to Play Sung Jinwoo Shadow Monarch. My name is Daniel Tickle here with the final contender, and I am going to be bringing you today a deck list for Death Sung Jinwoo, along with some um, of what I believe is important to keep in mind when it comes to playing the character, the first few official turns. One of the interesting things about this character is you have to sort of follow a structure, a decision tree in your first few turns, depending on what you have in hand, what you have in play, to really get the most out of the character. More so than a lot of characters, in my opinion, out there. So let's go ahead and dive into this. We're going to go ahead and start off talking about the character and the skill tree mechanics. Then we're going to dive into a discussion about some of the important cards, foundations, and attacks in the deck itself. Afterwards, we'll expand this to look at the entire deck list, just to take a look at the cards there. There will be links in the description of this video below to both this presentation as well as to the deck list itself. Then we're going to go into some information about how I view the first few turns of the game being as far as importance is considered. There's some additional tips and tricks that I think is important to remember about the character in the deck. And then finally, we'll end this with some cards to consider, maybe for this particular deck or maybe for other versions of Sung Jinwoo in the future. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Sung Jinwoo, E rank hunter. He is a 6-hand size, 30 health character. He has the passive ability that at the beginning of the game, you can choose the Assassin skill tree or the Shadow Monarch skill tree, and you start with it. Um, Keep in mind with these skill trees that they are character abilities, but they are not printed. So anything that references a printed character ability or printed ability, this will not reference that. The one that can get people sometimes is Rando's Spirit Gun, which cannot double the abilities on this. He does have the response Tenacious. Remove an XP card from your hand or stage at the end of the turn, or at the end of the start of your end phase, you level up. So this is how you go to higher levels. You start at level 0, and then each time you level up, you go up 1 level on the skill tree. So the Shadow Monarch skill tree is the skill tree that was introduced with the new solo leveling experience bundle, and it really turns the character around. This skill tree gives you 4 very good abilities, more abilities than most characters have. You just have to spend a little bit of time getting there. Level 1 is Shadow Extraction. As a form, once per turn, you try to play a Shadow Shift attack from your discard pile. So this will basically, you have this one form, and then you have another form which is playing the card from the discard pile. This is card advantage, pure and simple. This might as well say form once per turn. Draw a an attack card of your choice from the discard pile. Very good. Um, Level 2, your defensive, primary defensive ability, Shadow Preservation. Enhance. Once per turn, this attack gets -2 damage for each shadow card in your stage and card pool. I found that on average, I am typically at most of the time, I'm usually having around 3 shadow backups in my stage. So this would give, with this basic assumption, -6 damage to a card. This effectively is also card advantage. This says once per turn, automatically block or half block an attack because of the sheer amount of damage reduction you can put on something. This is very good. Sung Jinwoo acts more like a 7.5 or 8 hand sized character because of these first 2 level abilities. Even considering the fact that you have to remove cards from hand or stage to power the level up. Level 3, Shadow Exchange. Uh, for this, you as an enhance, you can sacrifice a backup, you draw a card, and this attack gets +2 or -2 speed. So, once you hit level 3, if your rival is attacking your backups, you can immediately, as your first enhance, sacrifice them to get a card if they're already going to die. It gives your rival much less incentive on attacking the backups because they get no real benefit from it. On your offensive turn, this is a way to get additional speed and card draw if you really need to push through. Defensively, it's also just a way to make the attack more easy to block while drawing a card to block with. Very good. You don't want to be using it every single attack. You don't want to burn through your backups if you have no other option, but it's good to have. And then finally, level 4, Monarch's Domain. Enhance your attack gets plus X damage. X equals to the number of shadow cards in your stage and or card pool +2. So with my previous example, we have 3 backups in stage. We're going to be giving every attack, whether it's a shadow attack or not, at least +5 damage. You attack with a shadow shift attack, it is now +6. You attack with another one, that one's going to get +7. Uh, so you can deal a lot of damage very quickly, especially since you're typically attacking 3-4 times a turn consistently. Very, very good. This is the assassin skill tree. I don't use it. Even though it's an option, I personally don't like it for a few reasons. One, it is 6 levels. That's a lot harder to get to. Two, the pump to your damage uh, isn't as high and it requires weapons. Three, the defensive ability requires you to block. The closest thing that this gives you to card advantage is giving a weapon attack echo. It's just not sufficient in my turn. So I don't like this particular skill tree myself. I don't use it. I stick with the Shadow Monarch skill tree. Okay, let's discuss some of the important cards in the deck. First, one of the most important cards. I'd argue this is tied with the action card as being the most important. Double Dungeon. So a 3 difficulty, 5 check, +1 mid block, unique XP. Uh, I run 4 copies of this. The uniqueness does not matter because you always want to get it as soon as possible. And truthfully, even after you use this ability, it's still probably worth playing again. But ability wise, tenacious response after you level up. Ready this card. This is I'll reiterate this again later, but this is not a once per turn. Keep that in mind. Enhance your turn. Remove, level up. You cannot level up again this turn. So if you are at level 3, this brings you to level 4. If you are at level 2 with the action in this, action brings you to level 3. This brings you to level 4. So you can hit your maximum level very, very quickly. Improving skills, 2 diff XP Foundation. That is a 5 check +3 high block. Enhanced Sacrifice Foundation to get a speed. That is fairly relevant in a lot of cases. Response after you remove this card from your hand, build the top card of your deck face down, committed. So, on your attack turn, or on your first turn, rather, you're going first, build out 4 foundations, maybe 5, remove this to get to level up and get another foundation on top of that. If you are going second, you can, if you're starting with your 7 cards, you build down 4, uh, remove this to level up to go to a 5th face down and still have 2, or build 3, use this to go to a 4th one that's face down, and then have 3 in hand to block with. The other important one is item menu. 1 diff XP Foundation with a 5 check response after you remove this card from your hand and you draw a card. So item menu says when you use the ability to level up you do not lose card advantage. You still are good. So if you are going second, this will allow you to level up and still stay at 2 or 3 cards in hand while getting a good build out. I run 4 copies of these in every Sung Jinwoo deck that I am playing. There's never been a situation where I have not wanted to run 4 copies of this. Even the unique one. If you draw 2, you can build one and then level up with one, or block with one with this +1 mid block. Very good. Let's discuss grinding over time. This is the action card. 4 diff action. It's a 5. Check it as a +0 mid block, and it's a breaker 1 XP card. So uh, you can block with it very well. You can level up with it. Enhance your turn, level up. Only 1 copy of this ability can be played this turn. Very good. Response after this card is removed from your hand, build it transformed. So, uh, if you are going second and you have this in hand, you can use this to level up and get a high orc soldier to either have an additional shadow card in your stage when you get to level 2, or to level up for effectively free the following turn. If you need to block with it, it is a +0 block with a breaker 1. This card by itself has really, I think, made Sung Jinwoo consistent enough to be a competitive character. I cannot overstate this enough. You should always have 4 copies of this in your deck. And when you're sideboarding, I would rarely ever take this out. I would rather side out foundations or attacks than this particular card. The Hierarch Soldier is a 2 stamina shadow XP soldier that after you remove it, you gain 2 health. So sometimes you remove it to level up. If you need to commit it for something, you don't really care, and it's a non-unique backup with the shadow keyword. Bear Bite is one of the attacks that came in the solo leveling experience bundle. Bear Bite is a 5 difficulty, 3 mid for 5 attack with a 2 mid block. It is a shift, throw, shadow, and XP. After this attack is not blocked, your rival sacrifices a foundation. So this is very good when you are going on your first attack turn, especially as playing first, because it almost demands a response from your rival. Uh, if they don't block it, they're going to sacrifice something, and if they do block it, they're only shaving 2 damage off the total. So later on, it's a throw that you can stack massive damage onto when appropriate. It transforms into Tank Shadow Bear, which is a unique Shadow XP backup that has the ability to enhance commit to give this attack -3 damage as long as Tank is not being attacked. Uh, I personally find that that is quite a good restriction. If they are attacking your backups, okay, you're not being attacked. The backup has soaked an attack into your character, called a free block. Except for the Hierarch Soldier, you can over time build them back from your discard pile anyway in almost all cases. Very good card. I'm running 4 copies of this in the deck. Chivalrous Charge. Chivalrous Charge, I think, is the best of the new Shadow Shift attacks. It is a 4 difficulty, 3 low for 4 with a 1 low block, so it's a very good block with a relevant block zone. Shift Charge Shadow Weapon XP. That's 5 keywords for those decks where keywords matters. Blitz. This attack gets +3 damage. If your rival has no cards in their hand, they draw a card. So Egress um, is a chivalrous knight. He always makes sure that his opponent has a chance, and this is the same. Uh, so if it's at the end of a long string and they may not be able to block it, you do it anyway, and it's a 3 low for 7. On the flip side, Egress is a unique Shadow XP backup with 4 stamina. It has the passive that when it's in your stage, Your attacks have +1 speed, and your rivals get -1. Very good. Uh, it does build committed, and it has the enhance to add it back to your hand. So you can't use it the turn that it gets built, but after that, you can add it back to your hand to either attack with or to block with. Again, the one low block makes it really relevant. Shadow Sorcerer is the other 4 diff attack from the Solo Living Experience. The 4 difficulty, 4 low for 4 with the 1 high block, Shift Shadow Spell XP. So this Blitz ability is the attack gets +2 speed for each copy of Shadow Mage and or Shadow Sorcery in your stage and remove pile. So each Shadow Sorcerer that you've played in the game, or each Shadow Sorcerer you removed from the game for one reason or the other, will at this point increase the speed. I should say Shadow Sorcerer you played in an earlier turn where it shifted down at that point. So assuming you're not throwing them back in the discard pile. The first one is a 4 low 4. The second one is a 6 low 4. The third one is an 8 low 4. You get the idea. The Shadow Mage backup is a non-unique. Very clear here. This is your second non-unique backup. Shadow backup. The Shadow XP with 4 stamina. Enhance, remove, add a spell attack from your discard pile to your hand. Only playable if Shadow Mage is not being attacked. So in the deck that I'm running, it only picks up another copy of Shadow Mage, which generally is not a detriment, but you can add in additional spell cards and then pick those up as well. Very, very good. The last of the Shadow Shift attacks is Rage Riot. Now, I only run 2 copies of this, but it's still a very good card. 6 diff, 4 high, 7 with a 3 check, +0 high block. Very good block. Shift Fury Shadow Weapon XP, 5 keywords. After this attack deals damage, build it transformed. Its transform side is Iron Former Hunter, which is a unique Shadow XP with 7 stamina. It has 7 stamina because its response is when this backup is attacked, your rival loses a health, so maybe they have to attack it twice. And it has commit, this attack gets +3 damage. So Rage Riot is very good, but it is expensive and it is difficult to play later in a string. Um, but it is still another shadow shift tack or shadow backup you can have down in your stage. And it's an off symbol. Most of the attacks in the deck I'm currently running are lows, so this makes it sometimes just get through. Uh, and if they block it, it will still shift down at the end of the turn. Very good card. Here is the full deck list. Now, this is on here for people to read, as well as in case something happens to the real deck list. But let's go ahead and change over to that. Okay, here is the UGN deck list. Links to this will be in the description, as I have mentioned. So, let's go ahead and go over these cards. We've seen these 3. We have a couple more XP cards in the deck. I'm running 2 copies of Loot Box, 2, 4, 3 low block XP. Flip, build the top card of your deck. At the end of this combat phase, add that card to your hand. So it is a 4 check, and it is not card draw. But if you do build down an XP card, you can pick it up and then at the end of the turn, use that to level up with. Leveling strength is a 1 diff, 5 check +2 low block XP, and you can commit it to give this attack +2 damage. I'm running leveling strength because it is XP. It is a 1 difficulty, and it is a low block, and low block is very relevant in the meta at the moment. Um, if everything swung back to highs, I might change this, but for the time being, I'm sticking with this. And sometimes the +2 damage is really relevant. Death Rattle is a 2 diff 5 check with a +2 high. Response after one of your backups is destroyed, your rival loses the health. Deadlock form, destroy a non unique rival foundation. This isn't here at first because there's an altar with Sung Jinwoo on it. So, of course, you got to run it. But it actually can dish out a good amount of damage. Remember that with the new rules for uniqueness, um, if you build down something that is unique, you don't get to pick which one is destroyed, but one of them is still destroyed. So it is can be relevant. You can also destroy your backups with your level 3 ability to ping for damage as well. Faithful Decision is a one diff from Sung Jinwoo's kit. It is 5 check with 3 mid block. It has an enhance. You can commit it for -2 speed, or commit it and give the card you block this attack with Breaker 1. So I'm running a few copies of this. This is a very good card. Breaker 1 is very relevant. So if you're only going to be blocking once or twice and you don't have to worry about the um, how should we say, you don't have to worry about losing the efficiency for committing down a speed hate. Use this, commit it down for the breaker, make your opponent do something suboptimal. Dramatic exit. I'm running one copy of this. 2 diff 5 check +2 high block unique foundation that has enhanced commit. This attack gets +X or -X speed. X is equal to the number of your foundations +1, or backups +1. So you have 3 backups in play. Commit for ±4 speed. Very good. I wouldn't run more than one, but I think it's still definitely worth running one. Just like Moment of Normalcy, we already know Moment of Normalcy if you're in the game at this point, but you can commit it to return something to printed speed or damage. The long version is another speed hate card, also low block, as you notice. It's a 1 diff 5 check that has commit. This tank gets -2 speed. If that's 3 or more keywords, it gets -3 speed. Very good ratio, and a lot of relevant attacks these days are at 3 or more keywords. The Night's Rest is another card which has speed hate on it. Seeing a pattern here. 2 diff 5 check with a 2 mid block. You can commit it for -2 speed. And then once per turn, Tenacious, you can commit a backup to ready it. So in your defensive turn, you can commit it, ready it. That way it's available to pay for the check or use it for more speed hate on another attack. On your offensive turn, commit a backup, ready it, and they can pay for more attacks. We're going to skip one here. Loyalty of a Friend is the other singular copy in the deck. 2 diff 5 check +2 mid block. Breaker 1 unique. This attack gets -1 damage for each backup in your stage. And Deadlock, this attack, commit for this attack gets +2 speed for each backup in your stage. So this is usually when I've been playing this minus 3 or -4 total um, damage to an attack. It is worth running at one of, but I do not think it is worth running at more than a one of to get out quicker. Just play it if you end up getting it, and if not, it's a 2 mid block with breaker. Now, all of these attacks all these cards up until now have all been either on all of Sung Jinwoo symbols or they are tuned. So these have generally been forming the core of my various Sung Jinwoo decks, and I'm trading out the additional stuff or making very minor modifications to this core of the foundation package. Forcing Surrender is one of these, and this is why we're running the death symbol for this version of the deck. It is a 1 difficulty 5 check with 2 low block. The only thing that is relevant for the deck is flip, discard a non attack card from either player's card pool. So this is used pretty much exclusively either one, to kick grinding over time from your card pool, two, to get rid of equipment heist from your rival's card pool, or less commonly, three, to kick a foundation from the card pool that you played to clear a big breaker. So there's two in the main, and I've got two in the sideboard. The last one, Botan's Coaching, is just card draw, 0 diff, 5 low, +3 mid block. You flip it, both players discard a card and draw a card. So if you're at 0 cards, you're up a card. If your rival has 1 card, they get to random card draw as opposed to what they were keeping to block you with. Um, Usually, in most cases, if they're planning to block a low, like most of the attacks are, you won't get a low block. So you're generally golden at that point. Very good. The attacks: Chivalrous, Shadow, Bear Bite, run 4 of each, 2 Rage Riot. I've got 2 other attacks in the deck. 4 copies of Mikasa's Fatal Cleave, a 4 def, 3 check, 4 low for 4 with a 1 mid block, so very good block mod. Blitz: if your rival cycle this game, destroy it. Destroy 1 rival foundation, and your rival discards a card. I should clarify. In response, after this attack deals damage, destroy 1 rival foundation. The Blitz in my playing will very rarely, if ever, trigger, but if it ever gets to that point, it is good to have the ability. The main thing is that because this says when this attack deals damage, destroy a rival foundation, it is targeted, which means this demands a response from your rival. If all they have is mid blocks, they block it, they take a little bit less damage, and they still have a one of their foundations destroyed. This is only a tune symbol. So, like this with all the other attacks, this has been proving to be my sort of core in my attack package. Um, I, I generally change back and forth between having 3 or 4 bear bites, but with this layout of attacks, 4 bear bites is what I've focused on. Now, this says when the attack deals damage. So, whereas bear bite says when the attack is not blocked. With backups, because there's no block step, you cannot have something that is not blocked when you're attacking a backup. However, with Fatal Cleave, it simply says deals damage. So if you attack a backup with this, you will destroy, unless they reduce the damage to 0 or cancel out the attack in some way, you will destroy your pick of your rival's foundations. The last one is Earthbreaker. Earthbreaker, which is on 2 symbols, all in death. Um, 5 difficulty, 3 check with the 1 high block, 3 low for 5. Stun 2 is all that matters for the keywords. Blitz: if your rival has more foundations than you, draw a card. Responds: after you draw 1 or more cards, your attack gets 1 damage while it's in the card pool. And then response: after this card deals damage, destroy 1 rival foundation committed during the attack. So, similarly to Fatal Cleave, if you attack a backup, you stun 2, 1 of those cards are going to get destroyed when you deal damage. The card pull ability synergizes very well with your Shadow Exchange. You sacrifice, you give your attack +2 speed, you draw a card that gets you a damage. So sacrifice a backup for +2/+1 and draw 1 card is a pretty solid exchange. Um, so with this package, the Earthbreakers I might change out for a different attack, or I might change out 3 Earthbreakers for 1 attack and 1 Earthbreaker and 1 Bear Bite for another. So I'll generally have 4 to 5 attack cards to play with when I'm balancing the deck. The last card is, of course, 4 copies of Grinding Overtime. So as you see, the deck is can be changed to the all symbol or the life symbol, and usually you can get around with not having too many cards in the deck change place. The sideboard I have on here is just because I think we need a sideboard. 2 copies of Filled with Doubt I generally run in everything these days. 3 copies of Hero's Upbringing. There are enough characters that do repeated abilities like Mikasa 4 that you, or Sung Jinwoo, that you really want to deal with. So, um, 3 difficulty action, um, 5 check +2 mid block, response: destroy a foundation after your rival plays the same ability on the same card for the second or greater time this turn. You seal their character. So blow up a foundation, you seal their character, and they are significantly in worse shape at that point. The other one, enhance, remove a copy of Hero's Upbringing from your discard pile, seal all cards from both players' card pools and momentum. This is going to be more relevant now than it was with all of the tension attacks that are in place. But if your rival is playing a bunch of shift attacks, Um, this also lets you seal the card pull so they won't shift down at the end of the turn. This is pretty good. Desperate Struggle is our answer to One Punch Deku or something like a big Titan pile. 3 diff foundation, 5 difficulty, plus 4 mid block. You're never blocking with it. Response flip after your rival's attack gets a damage bonus, return it to its printed damage. Or response flip after your rival's attack gets a speed bonus, return to its printed speed. So against One Punch Deku, he uses his character. He stacks up 6, 7 instances of +3/+3 on an attack. And on the seventh one, after it applies, reduce its speed back to printed and block it, or reduce the damage back to printed and let it go through. Very good. They, of course, won't let you do that because of other cards in stage, but you get what I mean. And then 2 more copies of Forcing Surrender. So this is the deck. Like I said, I'll have uh, a link in the description to the deck list for you all to get it. Now let's go ahead and discuss a few more things about the character. Okay, your first few turns. Turn 1, your objective is to build out and level up to level 1. So Double Dungeon is going to be your first card to build. If you have it, this is very important. You're going to use improving skills to level up to get uh, an additional foundation. I should say foundation. I'll have to correct that. To get an additional foundation, so you can uh, build 3, level up with this, and still have a 4 build if you're going first, or build 3 foundations, level up with this, have a 3 build for defense, but 4 build going second, and still have 3 cards in hand to block with. Now you're going to use item menu to level up without going into a card disadvantage. So if you have item menu instead of improving skills, you level up. You go from uh, 2 cards in hand to still 2 cards in hand. It's just whatever random is. If you're going second, you want to keep a minimum of 2 to 3 cards in your hand at the end of the turn to defend. Um, If you go second, the very first defensive turn is the most vulnerable point in the game since you do not have a defensive ability at this point. I will reiterate this. Your first defensive turn, um, when you are only level 1, is the most vulnerable position that Sung Jinwoo is going to be in. After that, when you get to um, your defensive ability, you are in much better shape. Keep that in mind. Now, if you have to, don't hesitate to use grinding overtime to level up. Uh, it will get you a backup, which you can then either be used for level 2, or you can use it to level up again and get 2 levels effectively off of the same card. So it's not preferential, but if you got to do it, don't hesitate to do it. It is still worth doing. All right, turn 2. Your goal here is, if at all possible, to get 2 backups, build out, and end the turn at level 2 or preferentially level 3. So, you have a grinding overtime and you want to play this turn to level up. So, you'll play an attack from your discard pile typically. Then you'll use grinding overtime and go to level 2. Um, then you'll attack again and then build out a couple more times. And at the end of the turn, level up to go to level 3. If you have a double dungeon in hand, but not in your stage, make sure you play it this turn. It is very important to have that played. So ideally, you want to end your turn with 2 shadow backups, 2 to 3 cards in hand, 6 to 7 foundations, and be at level 3. All right, turn 3. So at this point, you're going to attack several times, you're going to build out, and you're going to level up. So this is where your decision tree sort of branches out. You get a few states the game can be in on your turn 3. If you ended turn 2 at level 3 and you um, have a grinding over time in hand, Um, or you have a double dungeon in play. You attack and you go up to level 4. Or you just go to level 4 at the end of the turn. If you don't have either of these, um, level up as normal and just treat this sort of like you would your turn 2. Get some more shadow backups in play. Now, if you ended your turn at level 2, you can level up to 4 if you have a grinding overtime in hand and a double dungeon in play. Attack, level up again. It does clog the card pool a bit, but still very worth doing. You can play a grinding overtime and level up at the end of the turn to go to level 4. Uh, so you can effectively jump one turn and not have to level up in the middle of your next turn. You can play double dungeon and go up to level 3. That's also a valid option. Um, and that would allow you to jump to level 4 during your next attack turn. You can hold a grinding over time and level up to 3 to block with it, and maybe up to level 4 on your next turn. Um, so that's also another option. You, of course, can just go. You may, if you have no other option, you just level up to 3 and hope you draw a grinding over time on your 4th turn. Now, once you're fully leveled at this point, so turn 3 plus, um, your goal is to attack, if at all possible, at least 4 times a turn. Generally, this is going to consist of an attack from your discard pile, an attack from your hand, a chivalrous charge from your stage. So you pick it up and then you play it as your attack, and then a spell attack retrieved from your discard pile. So you will typically have a spell sorcery in the discard pile. Hopefully, you have a Shadow Mage backup. You go get that spell sorcery, and you have a 4th attack. But if you have multiple attacks in hand, it's just better. Keep in mind that with this layout, all this requires is that you have a Shadow Mage in your backups, a Egress in your backups, and 1 attack in your hand. And that's 1 attack from hand and 3 attacks from elsewhere. Very good. Uh, Ideally, I'd say you want to have 3 to 4 shadow backups in play. Um, that would give all of your attacks +5 or +6 damage at a minimum. And 4 attacks at +5 or +6 damage starting will kill your rival if they are unblocked. The smallest attack in the deck is a 4. Um, so you're looking at 36 damage, assuming that you had nothing but 4 different non-shadow attacks that you played um, that had 4 damage. You would still do 36 damage. And if any of these are a shadow shift attack, you're doing more. All right, here's a few extra tips and tricks to keep in mind while playing the deck. Remember that Double Dungeon can respond multiple times in one turn to leveling up. So you can commit it to help pass the check to play grinding overtime, then ready it, and commit it later and ready it at the end of the turn if you need to. Shadow Sorcery and Grinding Overtime both turn into non unique backups. Remember to stack these up to benefit your level 2 Shadow Preservation defensive ability. If you're at level 3 and your backups are attacked, again, remember you can sacrifice them to draw a card as your first enhance. If your rival attacks a backup in general, it is not an attack that is coming your way, so it doesn't really matter at that point. That backup has sacrificed itself for the Shadow Monarch as it should. You can always get them back. There are no momentum outs in the deck. If you're attacking with a unique Shadow Shift attack, make sure and sacrifice the one in your stage for a card draw if you can, or let it automatically get destroyed when you proceed to go with that death rattle. But do not worry about keeping um, any momentum. No momentum outs in the deck. Remember, a Night's Rest can be readied on your turn by committing a backup, but make sure you don't plan on using their build until your next turn. If you do it, plan on doing this there. Egress can't go back in your hand if he's committed. The Shadow Mages can't pull up a spell from this card pile if they are committed. Finally, remember Egress's passive ability, just in general. I keep forgetting it. I keep forgetting it, so just remember, keep it in mind. Finally, there are a few other cards that you may want to consider because you always want to tweak the decks to your own liking, one way or the other. First, Pale Rider. So the way this works, so Pale Rider is a 5 diff 4 low for 5 attack with a +2 high block. It has Echo, Fury, Punch, and Slam, so it has 4 keywords when keywords matter. It has Drive 1 Blitz. You can clear one other attack from your card pool rather than spending 1 momentum to pay for the cost of this attack's Echo ability. So you attack with a Shadow Sorcery attack, a Shadow Shift attack from your hand. You attack with Pale Rider. You drive. You proceed to clear it. You then play it again. And then you play your Shadow Shift attack from the discard pile. So this is pretty solid. And it's another low attack. Falling Titans. So this is a 6 difficulty, 5 high for 6 with a 2 high block, shift, range Titan. I don't have it on here, but the opposite side, the transform side, is a unique foundation. It has response, sacrifice a backup after this attack resolves to add this card to your hand. And the foundation says add this card to your hand and heal a backup 10 stamina. So the main thing is this lets you pull up a +2 mid block from your stage. It transforms into a foundation, but most importantly, if you have the backups in play and enough foundations, you can continually attack with this card. Here's one that I don't think I've seen anyone take a look at yet. This is on 2 of his symbols. It is not attuned. Blue Flame Flare is a 6 difficulty, 3 high for 8 with a +3 mid block. Enhanced Mill 2, this attack gets 1 speed for each keyword in your card pool. It just counts everything. It's not looking for unique. If your rival has 8 or more ready foundations, this attack gets +3 damage. So, in this instance, let's say you have attacked with a Chivalrous, and you have attacked at that point with a Shadow Sorcery. That's 9 foundations between the two of those. Attack with this, it's a big check, but attack with this, that is an 11 high range attack. Important keyword there, so you can't reduce this speed back to 0 with uppercut. But for 8 damage, um, if for some reason they have a massive number of foundations unblocked, it's a 11 high for 11, and then you can still pump it for additional speed and additional damage. So very good. Expensive, may be worth trying. Finally, Harness Undeath. 4 diff, 4 low for 4, 1 high block spell. So it can be picked up with your Shadow Mages. Blitz, sacrifice a backup. This attack gains Echo. Response, card pull after your rival loses a health, gain a health. Response, lose 2 health after this attack deals damage to a character. Your rival loses X health. X equals the number of backups in all discard piles. I am of the opinion that running Harness Undeath in the main board is a trap because you have to run a bunch of other backups. Usually you're running like 10 copies of Jaegerist Follower. Because you have to add so many additional cards into the deck, it lowers the reliability of getting to your grinding over time and your double dungeon cards. So I think it's a trap, but this has seen some play. A lot of people like the idea. I believe it was 14th place out in Glasgow. Was someone playing a Harness and Death build. This can be played in both the life version as well as the death versions of the deck. So I don't like it. At best, I would run it on the sideboard, depending on your meta. But if you do like it, it's a pretty cool card. So that's pretty much it. There's the deck list, there is the presentation, and my thoughts about the early game and playing the character. Um, I think Sung Jinwoo is a lot of fun, and the new skill tree has made the character quite good. I honestly think the character is really competitive. I am winning more often than not at my locals, including against things like Godzilla when they're being played, or um, Nagoriyuki, or etc. So I I think the character has legs. It does take a little bit of work to get used to the timing, but I hope this helps. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below or reach out to me on Discord under my handle, Daniel, AKA. I will be glad to discuss this and almost anything regarding um, the solo leveling uh, decks and cards, or actually even the franchise for that matter. So, with that in mind, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you come back in the future. Have a great day, everyone.